The Instagram vs reality. Chameleon, this is an animation about body image. It's a bit different from my usual animations, but I hope that is okay because body image is something that affects all of us in one way or another. So, this is a bit of a passion project for me. It has a story about a chameleon who spends all of her time inside an app trying to look like a dragon. She sees all these other chameleons getting thousands of likes for looking like shiny dragons with slim waists, and she wants that too. So she applies all these filters to herself and she becomes the most filtered chameleon on the planet. Now, outside of the app, she's just a normal lizard with a normal lizard body. But nobody knows that because she spends all her time inside the app showing off her filtered self, and all of her followers just assume that she looks like a dragon in real life. Now, when she goes out into the jungle to try and find some food, all of the other animals tease her. They say things like, "Hey, are you the famous chameleon from the Insta filter?" Or, "Oh wow, so you look like a lizard in real life. What a shocker." And they just keep taking photos of her and posting them online. She feels so humiliated. She runs away crying and she hides in a bush. And then a wise old toad hops up on the bush and asks, "What's wrong?" And she explains everything to the toad. And the toad says, "Ah, I know exactly what you're going through. I used to be a tadpole once and I would spend all of my time watching the frogs around me and comparing myself to them. I wanted to be like them so bad. I wish I could have been born a frog instead of a tadpole. But then one day I realized that if I had been born a frog, I would be able to do all the cool tadpole stuff like hanging out underwater and swimming around with my friends and playing hide and seek in the water lilies. And I realized that being a tadpole was pretty great too. Sure, there were some downsides, like not being able to hop around on land or catch flies with my long sticky tongue. But there were lots of cool things about being a tadpole, and comparing myself to the frogs just made me miserable. So I stopped comparing myself to them and I started appreciating what it meant to be a tadpole. And guess what? Eventually I grew up and became a frog, and I got to do all the cool frog stuff that I used to wish I could do. And now I also get to do all the cool toad stuff too. And the chameleon thinks about this and realizes that the toad is right. She has been comparing herself to these other chameleons inside the app, and it's made her miserable. She wants to stop doing that. She wants to appreciate what it means to be a chameleon instead. She doesn't want to look like a dragon anymore. So she takes all of the filters off and she logs out of the app and she walks out into the jungle feeling very happy and free. The other animals see that she has taken the filters off and they all kind of look at her funny and some of them unfollow her. But she doesn't care. She's never felt more beautiful than she does in this moment. Now, later on, she runs into the other chameleons that she used to compare herself to, and she tells them how much their behavior has hurt her. They apologize and they tell her that they've been struggling with the same issues too. They're all in this together. And then they all hug each other and they decide to spend the rest of their day playing games in the jungle and having fun. They make a plan to spend less time inside the app and more time in the real world. They realize that the real world is so much more fun than the app. There's so much more to explore and discover. There's so many cool things to learn and do and experience. And they decide to start living their lives to the fullest. They play until sunset and then they go home and they log on to the app just for a little bit before bed. And as they scroll through the app, they notice that even though they haven't filtered their photos, they're still getting lots of likes. They're not as popular as they were before, but they don't really care. They're happier being themselves than they ever were trying to be someone else. The end. If you're struggling with body image or if you're struggling with something else that you feel like you're queuing and talk about, please know that you're not alone. Body image is something that affects all of us in one way or another. We all want to feel beautiful and accepted for who we are. And sometimes it can be hard to do, but I want you to know that you're beautiful just the way you are. You don't need to change yourself to be accepted by others. I also want you to know that you're not alone. There are so many people out there who care about you and want to help you. If you're struggling, please reach out to a trusted adult or friend or mental health professional. There is help available and things can get better. As I mentioned, this topic is a bit different from my usual videos, but I feel like it is important to talk about topics like body image because they affect all of us in one way or another. Body image is something that I've struggled with for a long time and it is something that I am still working on every day. But I want to help others who are struggling with body image too. I want them to know that they're not alone and that things can get better. If you're enjoying my content and you want to support me, while I take a break from making money, you can check out the links in the description. This video is not sponsored by anyone, but if you'd like to sponsor an upcoming video, please contact me for more information. And finally, if you want to watch more of my videos, you can do so here. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.